Okay, so for the most part, setup's pretty good, yeah? I mean, I think the grip pressure we can't see, but I think we just talked about that being a little bit loose. I think being aware of how tight we hold the golf club is something that I think people just tend to just grip tighter thinking they've got more control, where in actual fact, the tighter you hold something in some ways, yes, you've got control of an animal bolting off in a direction or a kid on the lead, but you ain't going to move unless you move it. So you don't need to grip it tight. Inanimate objects don't move by themselves, so I'm going to squeeze that tight to control. I can just hold it there. I've got control, So as you went back, the issue you had, as we said, you take the golf club back, your left wrist would get a little bit cupped up the top here now. You sort of see the club head here now, kind of behind the shaft on this left-hand side, so the club's pointing down. This club now, at this point, is a bit open. So what happens now with the club face being open, your club face relative to target at this position is aiming right at target. As you bring the golf club back down, you've now got to do one of, say, 3 or 4 things. Either swing the club through impact on that blue line, left to target, lean back behind the golf ball and hit the ground behind the golf ball, or as what you do, cup the wrist and scoop it to try and square the club face up, which invariably hits the ground behind the ball. And there were some shots you hit that were quite straight, but as you started changing it, a few longer shots and the swings get a bit faster and more warmed up, we had a couple of those thinny ones off to right. As you said, direction is an issue you're going to struggle with, okay? So we look at the backswing here now. As you go back, I want you to focus on where that club face is now relative to the shaft. So the club head now is on this side of the shaft as opposed to being on that side of the shaft. So that club now is in a stronger position. Your left wrist has stayed in a sort of what we call flatter position. It's not sort of extending to this sort of like cupped position. Then as we come back down to the golf ball here now, because that wrist is in a flatter position, the club face now is squarer. We can swing through and we can see now getting an in-range grip position there. And I think you had in the end like 4 in a row that were getting that grip position there at the top, whereas before you had literally 10 red. So you've changed the backswing quite quickly. Inevitably, you'll find that impact is always going to be a little bit scooped. That's not going to just disappear straight away. It'll take a little bit of getting used to, because top of the backswing is an instinct thing. Sorry, top of the backswing is a feel thing. Impact is an instinct thing, and that takes a little bit longer to get used to, but what we want to see eventually is a golf ball going, and again long term we want to try and see is when you're coming back down with the club face now stronger as a golf ball going this way, and then when it starts going this way, those 4 characteristics we described at the start, where you shadow the club, your weight goes forward, you get shaft lean, club swings from the inside, that's going to now take that yellow line and bring it more into kind of this sort of blue line here, where the ball's now going to be going more this way, hitting it where you want to hit it. Whereas at the moment on this left-hand one, because the club face is open and you don't want to go over here somewhere, you're doing everything in your power to send it over here to the left. And again, like I say, you get pretty good at that. Problem is, when there's out of bounds right, you'll tend to swing it further left, and then it might curve even more to the right. So like 3rd on the button, 5th on the button. Okay, all these trouble holes, or 5th on 7th on the Mac. And then if there's trouble left there, do you really want to start swinging it towards that? So 60 on the button. You don't want to swing it 30 yards left towards the pond and hope it cuts back, because golf could be a sod and the ball can just curve and not come back. So if we can get that club face at top of the back, so you can get that stronger position, that's going to be the key thing. So reflections will be a good thing, okay? Lead arm and the club more in line there with kind of that leading edge. If that's your leading edge down here and the club face is like this, that club now is relatively, whatever those lines are there, that many degrees open. 20, 25 degrees open. And you're thinking half a second you've got to try and square that club up, which you'll do occasionally, but it's not going to be long-term consistent. And again, with a longer club, it's going to be even more difficult. So get that sensation of that wrist being a bit flatter. This is going to be open. You could go a bit too far potentially to start with, but we want to be somewhere in sort of a neutralist position, nice and flat with that left wrist. And again, when you hit golf balls, whether you do go to the range and hit golf balls or whether you just go on the golf course, that is basically testing. The practice is doing what you were doing up here now, where you sort of swing to the top of the backswing and up here, just rehearsing this motion over and over again, getting the feeling of that club just coming up and down with a squarer club face, dropping the club nice. I mean, that's on plane, that really nice position, that club going through your right forearm there, really good, So you're creating some good angles, which get the club face to match up with that. So, make sense?
Yeah.
Happy days, good. Right, let's have a couple more to finish off with, okay?